Vanished, created and narrated by Ravi. Chapter 6, Out of Africa. The year 2007 proved to be a very defining year for South African politics. It was also the year when the battle between the expelled and disgraced Zuma and the incumbent President Mbeki would be decided. Although constitutionally Mbeki was not eligible for a third term as President of South Africa, he nevertheless chose to contest for the party elections to the post of President of ANC. Mbeki lost the election to Zuma, and with this, the road to becoming the President of South Africa literally reached the dead end. Zuma was now ANC's official candidate for the presidency of the country. This gave a boost to the confidence of the lobbies supporting Zuma, including the Sharma brothers. They would now be in full control and have complete immunity. 2007 also proved to be a defining year for Srikanth. Vijay was now free of the various insecurities he faced regarding his friend. It was also clear to him that Srikanth was no more required by the group as he had already stopped functioning effectively. Vijay knew the limited connections Srikanth had and was confident that the group's secrets would be safe with his friend. It was now time to bid him farewell, and he spoke about this with his brother. Meanwhile, Srikanth had given up all hopes of an early return to India and uniting with his family. The victory of Zuma meant that the brothers would now be the supreme force. The deals would become murkier, and the brothers would now need Srikanth more than ever before to manage the mess. There was no way out for him unless he somehow managed to escape. Fortunately for him, his passport was still with him. Srikanth tried to clear his head of the fears that haunted him and think clearly. He had to escape the clutches of the brothers, and he had to do it now. By virtue of his position in the group, Srikanth had opportunities to interact with many key officials in the government. While most of them were pawns and power brokers, there were a few conscientious ones who were quite disturbed at the state of their nation and its politics. They felt that it was better when the whites were in the power, as no one now seemed to have any interest about the country in their mind. There were corruption stories about all senior politicians, including Nelson Mandela, and this had many honest South Africans disappointed and frustrated. It was then that he thought of Wilfred. Wilfred was a senior officer in the Home Department, and Srikanth had met him on many occasions. They had discussed South African politics and prospects, guarded at first, and then freely. Srikanth was able to see a glimmer of hope for him. He had a reasonably good relationship with Wilfred, and he could perhaps discuss his problems with him. He set up a private meeting with Mr. Wilfred Chunu. Wilfred, I apologize for this cloak and dagger meeting, but it was absolutely necessary for me to see you. I understand, Srikanth, said Wilfred. You can speak to me freely with the confidence that whatever it is that we may discuss here today will remain only with me. I really appreciate that, Wilfred. I am worried about what is going to happen in your country in a year's time and afraid that it will affect me too. You mean when Zuma is elected as president? My friend, there will definitely be a change for the worse. But who's caring about it? Not the citizens of this country, nor any other nation in the world. It is already infested by thieves and traitors. What worse can happen? Wilfred, I think I am in trouble. Rather, I am troubled by the things going on around me. Well, said Wilfred, I used to wonder why a person like you left his good job to come to South Africa to join a group of thieves. Srikanth, the people you work for are ruthless, and it is your misfortune that you are laundering all the money for them. I know you don't have it in you to do all this dirty work. You look weak and sick, and I am guessing it is because of stress. Do you fear for your life? I heard that you have sent your family back to India. You're right, Wilfred. I have been living in fear for a long time. I have even spoken to Vijay, but he does not want to listen to me. He is my friend, but how much does friendship matter? Now they know that I am not happy with what they are doing. They also know that I know about their whole sordid business here. I am afraid I shall not leave your country alive. Do you want to go back alive? Wilfred said. I can help you, but you have to be very discreet and careful. If your plans are discovered, then I cannot say what will happen to you. With Wilfred's help, Srikanth managed to catch a flight to India. President Mbeki resigned in 2008, and in 2009 Zuma became the president of South Africa. Srikanth settled down in Mumbai and after a while seemed his normal and cheerful self. He, however, continued to write in his diary. His fears would not leave him in peace. He had visions of the Sharma brothers sending their goons to eliminate him. He would refuse to travel alone, even within Mumbai. Srikanth tracked the unfolding events in South Africa closely. He tracked the progress of his former employers and observed that they were indeed growing exponentially and getting richer and powerful by the day. A new finance head, an Indian, had replaced Srikanth. The brothers were acquiring lands near Lucknow, apparently for construction of a large township. There was no mention of Srikanth anywhere in the media. He wondered how his friend Vijay had taken his sudden disappearance. He must have been terribly upset and angry. Srikanth made sure that he had no documents of any kind relating to the group with him. He wanted freedom and was not interested in exposing the misdeeds of his employers. Srikanth, however, knew that he would be under some sort of surveillance by the brothers in India. While he took care to leave sensitive documents behind, he, however, kept one vital piece of evidence with him, probably as some kind of insurance. Immediately after his return from South Africa, he had also taken insurance on his life and that of his wife. It was a simple term life insurance policy for 10 million Indian rupees with the Life Insurance Corporation of India. End of chapter 6. Keep listening.